Okay, we're set up here on the P34 Rebar Bender with a bend angle control. What I want to do is just kind of go through the controls and explain what they do, how we make a program, and then kind of go over the tooling setup for this particular machine. Now this machine has a custom setup, tooling setup. So this particular one, the radiuses are quite tight, so we needed a way to extend out further than the standard rebar bending machine. So I'll go over the tooling a little bit later. But first thing you want to do is you want to come turn the machine on, pull the emergency stop. Okay, this is your selector switch. In the 0 mode, it's off. 2 is going to rotate clockwise. 1 is going to rotate counterclockwise. Now the problem with the counterclockwise on this particular machine is the tooling. If in this former, this basically the die here, if it rotates in the counterclockwise direction, it's going to crash into this tooling here. So we always want to be on position 2, which is clockwise. Okay. You have a manual programming mode, which can go either left or right using these pins here. Basically, these pins hit the limit switches that are inside the machine. This does nothing here. This is basically a 0 mode, and this is your programming mode, your automation mode. Okay. To turn the electric motor on, we're going to hit ready. This is the start of the bend. We're in position 2. And then, let's say for example, this is a return to start. So if you find yourself in a position where you're stuck, this will bring it back to the starting position. Okay. So let's move over to the bend angle control. You have one program with 20 different positions per program. Okay. And we made a test bend with one of these, and we've got basically four steps, because you have 4 bends, 1, 2, 3, 4. The first bend you're going to make is you're going to start from this end and come this direction. Your first bend roughly 45 degrees. You flip this over. Your second bend is roughly maybe 75 degrees. Your third bend is going to be 165 degrees. Keep it in this orientation. First bend's 165, second bend's 165. But for this particular part, you're going to start this direction first and work your way around. Okay. So the programming is very simple. This is your up, down, left, and right for scrolling through position numbers. This is your memory button, and this is your reset button. So let's say, for example, I want to go in and I want to change the degree of bend. Say I want to go, the 45 is not enough, so I want to add 10 degrees. You hit your memory, your reset, and you bump it up 55 degrees and hit memory. And that saves the degree of bend. So position 1, this indicates the direction that the countertop is moving, right? And this button here changes that direction in the program. So you've got your left and right rotation here for this. So I just changed it to counterclockwise. I want to keep, so that you also may want to make sure that's important. For this setup, it always needs to be clockwise. And then you go back in memory. You also have a parts counter here. So for every one that you make while the machine's on, you can also reset this as well. So if you've got 10, 15 parts that shows up, you just hit your reset and it goes back to 0. Okay. The C for correction, you do have a correction, the ability to correct that. Say for example, if you're making a bend and you need 120 degrees, and depending on the yield or material characteristics of the steel, say you only get 90 degrees, you can come in and add 30 degrees to that. Memorize. Okay. And you're back to it. So again, parts counter, corrections, then the rotation, clockwise or counterclockwise. But again, for this setup, always stay in the clockwise mode with this moving to the left. Okay. So we also have a foot pedal, which makes it easier. You can either do the bends in the first position. You can either hit the start button. It goes to position number 2. So you can either use the start or the foot pedal. And as I go around that, okay. So position number 5 doesn't have one. So if I want to make, so I've got another bend, again, you hit memorize, reset, 35 degrees, memorize. So that's basically the overall overview of the control, or the bend angle control. Okay, so I want to go over the tooling here for this particular application. Similar, this is a part that the customer supplied us, and you can see how tight the bend radii are. So again, this is adjustable, moves up and back. You have, for this application, we have 3 different pin diameters. 3/4, 1 inch, an 1 3/8 inches. Okay, so this is the center pin. It fits in the center hole. Okay, and this is going to be your counter. This is going to be your counter bending former. Okay, notice here that what they did, the factory threaded and tapped these two and split these. Okay, so you need these somewhat loose when you stick this in here. I've already got one loaded. But what happens when you tighten this down is that the screw tightens this bottom portion of it and gets it tighter. So when you put this on, it's going to be loose. You're going to install it, and then you're going to tighten these down really hand tight. And then when you go to remove it, you're going to loosen it and then pull it out. But I just wanted to show you how they're split. You also have 3 of these and 3 center pins. And the factory also supplied an additional block per size and an additional pin per size for that end. So just kind of wanted to show you what these look like and where they were installed.